Hello friends, welcome back in my another lecture in the series of lectures in probability and statistics. So today I'm going to solve some more problems on third type of property of point estimator, that is efficiency. So let's start. If x1, x2, x3 in capital letter is a random sample of size 3, this is taken from the population whose mean is mu and variance is a sigma square. Also, capital T1, T2, T3 are the estimators which are used to estimate mean value mu, where T1 is equal to this one, T2 is equal to this one, and T3 have value 1 by 3 times lambda x1 plus x2 plus x3. So what we have to check? We have to check whether T1, T2 are unbiased estimators or not. Second is we have to find value of lambda such that T3 is given to be unbiased estimator for a mu. And third is with this value of lambda we have to check whether T3 is a consistent estimator or not. And finally, uh, among these estimator T1, T2, T3, which is the best estimator, right? So solution given, what is given? Because the sample has been taken from the population whose mean is this one and variance is this one. It means expected value of each of the samples xi will be equal to mu, and variance of each of the xi will be equal to sigma square, right? And I, j both are varying from 1 to up to 3. This is given. Let us suppose this to be equation number 1. So in first we have to check these one T1, T2. Since T1 is x1 plus x2 minus x3, so taking the expected value E of tx1, this is equal to E of x1 plus x2 minus x3 by using this linear property of expected value A is constant, E of x plus B. Because of this linear property, so this will be equal to E of x1 plus E of x2 minus E of x3. Since expected value each of these is mu, so this is mu, this is mu, this is mu. Since of equation 1 this is given, so this will be equal to mu. Mu and mu cancel, so that is what we are getting. Expected value of T1 is equal to mu, so that means T1 is a unbiased estimator of mu. Also let us check T2 also. Since T2 is given to be 2 times x1 plus 3 times x3 minus 4 times x2, so expected value of T2, again this will be expected value of 2x1 plus 3x3 4x2 by using this linear property. 2 is constant, expected value of x1, 3 is constant, expected value of x3, 4 is constant, expected value of x2. So each of these values mu, so this is mu, this will be 3 times mu, this will be minus 4 times mu. Since of equation 1 you can see here, because I is varying from 1 to 3, so 5 minus 4, this is a mu. So what we are getting, expected value of T2 is also equal to mu, so that means T2 is also unbiased estimator of a population mean mu, right? Now, so in this we both are unbiased estimator. Number 2, find the value of lambda. Given, what is given? You can see here T3 is unbiased estimator of mu. Given T3 is unbiased estimator of mu. It means expected value of T3 must be equal to mu by definition. By definition of unbiasedness, this is the first property of point estimator, right? So substitute the value of T3, so this will be 1 upon 3 lambda times x1 plus x2 plus x3 bracket close is equal to mu. 3 is constant by using this property, So 1 by 3 outside, inside is E time lambda x1 plus x2 plus x3 is equal to mu because of this property. Shifting 3 to right hand side, so rest is again by this property, lambda is constant, expected value of x1, expected value of x2 plus expected value of x3, so this will be 3 times mu, right? So lambda constant, this because of equation 1 is mu, this is also mu, this is also mu, this is equal to 3 mu since of equation 1, right? Since of equation 1, so from here lambda mu is equal to mu, mu cancel from both sides, so lambda is equal to 1. So in this way we are getting mu is equal to lambda is equal to 1. This is second part. We have to just find the value of this. Now in third part we have to use this value of lambda to check whether T3 is consistent or not. So let's see. Let us see. This is third part now. As we have evaluated in part 2, as lambda is equal to 1, therefore T3, which is equal to 1 upon 3 lambda time x1 plus x2 plus x3, this will becomes, substitute the value of lambda, this will become 1 by 3 times x1 plus x2 plus x3. So this will be equal to summation xi, and I in this case is varying from 1 to 3, I is varying from 1 to 3 divided by n. So you can see we know this type of result, summation xi upon n, when I is varying from 1 to n, this is equal to x bar. X bar means sample mean, this is sample mean, right? So this is n, in this case is 3, so this is equal to x bar, right? So x bar is the sample mean, so that is what we are getting, T3 is equal to x bar, right? Since we know that sample mean x bar is a consistent, this is a consistent estimator of mu. Alright, actually we have proved this result in the second property, that is consistent estimator. Second property of that is consistency. We have proved this sample mean x bar is consistent estimator of mu. Just write directly here this result. If this is consistent, so T3 will be also consistent. So this implies T3 is a consistent estimator of mu, right? So now come to the fourth part. We have to check which one is the best estimator. Here variance of T1, so this will be equal to variance of, substitute the value of T1 is x1 plus x2 minus x3, which will be equal to, we have to use these result, variance of ax plus b, variance of a minus bx, variance of x minus y. All of the first result is a square variance of x, second result is b square variance of x, and third result is variance of x plus variance of y. Alright, since we know these kinds of results, right? So using these, so what will be this one? This will be variance of x1 plus variance of x2, and this will be plus, because b in this case is -1 square is 1, so this will be variance of x3. Now using equation 1, everyone is sigma square, this is sigma square, this is sigma square, which is equal to 3 sigma square since of equation 1, because variance of each of the random variable is a sigma square given. Also variance of T2, variance of T2 is given, substitute the value of T2, T2 is 2 times x1 plus 3 times x3 minus 4 times x2. Again using these three results, so this will be 2 outside will be 4 variance of x1, 3 outside will be 9 variance of x3 4 outside will be 16 time variance of x 2. Substitute the value of all of these variance, all are sigma square. 4 time, this will be 9 times sigma square, this will be 16 times sigma square. Sense of equation 1, because variance of each is given, so this will come out to be 29 sigma square. And finally variance of t3 is given, this is 1 by 3 time lambda x1 plus x2 plus x3. Alright, so using this property, 1 by 3 outside will be 1 by 9, so the rest will be variance of lambda time x1 plus x2 plus x3. Again using this property, so lambda outside will be lambda square, because lambda is given to be 1, lambda is given to be 1, right? Not given, we have evaluated, this is 1, so this will be simply variance of x1 plus variance of x2 plus variance of x3, because of these properties, right? So 1 by n, all are sigma square plus sigma square plus sigma square, this will be 3 sigma square divided by 9, so this is sigma square divided by 3, so that is variance of t3, this is 0.3 sigma square, 0.3 in decimal form sigma square. Now you can check here, variance of t1 is 3 times sigma square, this is 29 times sigma square, and this is 0.3 times sigma square. This is the list, right? Clearly variance of t3 is the least, variance of t3 is the least, therefore t3 is the best estimator of mu, is the best estimator of mu, therefore t3 is the best estimator of mu, right? So among t1 t2 t3 is the best estimator of mu. So this is all about this question. Now come to the last and final property of point estimator, that is sufficiency. So what is sufficiency? We consider a point estimator P, which is a function of a random sample of size n, small x1, small x2, small xn, and this sample has been taken from the population whose density function means whose probability is this, where x is a variable, theta is a parameter, right? Such that conditional probability of these and this sample, small x1, small x2, small x1, the conditional probability of this random sample with given t means t has already occurred, is independent of theta, this parameter. If this is independent of theta, conditional probability, then t will be sufficient estimator for the theta, right? So we have done this kind of result. Probability of a slash b means probability when of a when a has already occurred. This is probability of a intersection b divided by probability of b. So similarly here, b has already occurred. In this case, this is the probability x1 x2 xn, where t has given t means t has already occurred. So इसका जो हमारे पास फाइनल रिजल्ट आएगा, रिजल्ट मीन्स आउटपुट, दिस वन, दिस मस्ट बी इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ थीटा, इसमें थीटा नहीं आना चाहिए, देन t point estimator that will be sufficient estimator for the theta. Let's take an example. Consider random sample of size n, small x1, small x2, small xn. This is taken from a Bernoulli population. Bernoulli population means each of the xi, जो x1, x2, xn है, these will be either equal to 0 or equal to 1. Bernoulli population, right? With parameter p, which lies between 0 and 1. That is 0 and 1. You can see here xi की वैल्यू या तो 1 होगी या तो 0 होगी. 1 कब होगी? If the ith member of the sample is a success, means if x1 is success तो 1 आएगा, if x2 भी success तो तब भी 1 होगा, 3 भी होगा तब भी 1 ही आएगा, n भी होगा तब भी होगा 1, अदरवाइज केस में क्या हो जाएगा 0. दैट मीन्स सक्सेस की प्रोबेबिलिटी p होती है. सो xi विल बी 1 विद प्रोबेबिलिटी p, अदरवाइज केस में क्या हो जाएगा 1 माइनस p, राइट? देन कैपिटल T विच इज सम ऑफ ऑल दीज रैंडम सैंपल, तो तो ये अप्रॉक्सीमेटली क्या हो जाता है, बी एन बी मीन्स बाइनोमियल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन। तो तब हमने शो करना है दिस टी इज सफिशिएंट एस्टिमेटर फॉर द पैरामीटर पी, मीन्स हमको क्या शो करना पड़ेगा, जो कंडीशनल प्रोबेबिलिटी आएगी इस रैंडम सैंपल के लिए x1 x2 xn फॉर गिवन t, वो उसमें p नहीं आना चाहिए, राइट। पैरामीटर इज p, दिस टाइम यहाँ पर पैरामीटर थीटा था, जो हमारे पास कंडीशनल प्रोबेबिलिटी आएगी x1 x2 xn फॉर गिवन t, दैट मस्ट बी इंडिपेंडेंट ऑफ p बाय डेफिनेशन ऑफ सफिशिएंसी। प्रूफ, सिंस गिवन t हमारे पास क्या दिया है, t is given to be summation xi and I in this case is varying from 1 to this one, and this is approximately binomial distribution where n are number of trials and p is the probability of a success, right. That means that is the distribution, of capital T is just a binomial distribution. So you know this result for binomial distribution, probability of a x success या probability of capital X taking value x, and this is equal to ncx p raised to power x into q raised to power n minus x। इसमें जो x वेरी कर रहा है where x is varying from 0 1 2 up to n, right। So probability या density function of small f is equal to k, small x को मैंने k से रिप्लेस किया है, तो दिस इज कैपिटल T टेकिंग वैल्यू k सक्सेसिस के लिए, तो ये हो जाएगा एन सी के p raised to power k into q is 1 minus p because q is just opposite of p, so this will be 1 minus p raised to power n minus k, where k is taking value 0 1 2 up to n, right। So let us suppose this to be equation number 1, this is probability of k successive या probability of random variable t taking value k, probability of random variable x taking value x because of this one, right। The distribution of x1 x2 small x1 small x2 small xn is relatively simple, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन x1 x2 x मीन्स प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ x1 प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ x2 प्रोबेबिलिटी xn, ये बिल्कुल सिंपल प्रोबेबिलिटीज है। होगा क्या, वी गेट अ फैक्टर ऑफ स्मॉल p फॉर एवरी xi is equal to 1 and a factor of 1 minus p for every xi will be equal to 0 because of this result। यहाँ देख सकते हैं फैक्टर p कब आएगा, हमारे पास जब xi 1 होगा, फैक्टर 1 माइनस p कब होगा, जब xi 0 होगा, राइट। सो देयरफॉर दिस प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ रैंडम वेरिएबल x1 taking value small x1 and random variable x2 taking value small x2, in this way random variable xn taking value small xn, अगर ये x1 x2 small x1 small x2 small xn सारे भी 1 आ जाएंगे तो ये एक्चुअल में क्या आएगा, तो हो जाएगा दिस विल बी प्रोबेबिलिटी, तो आपके पास क्या आ जाएगा, यहाँ आ जाएगा इस तरह से, आपके पास p रेज टू पावर x1 आ जाएगा बिकॉज ऑफ दिस रिजल्ट, p रेज टू पावर x1 p रेज टू पावर x2 डैश डैश p रेज टू पावर x n आ जाएगा। ये अगर सारे ये 1 होंगे मीन्स तो हर जगह हमारे पास फैक्टर p आएगा, या तो दूसरा केस क्या हो सकता है कम, या तो सारे 1 माइनस p फैक्टर में आएंगे, जस्ट ऑपोजिट ऑफ दिस वन, राइट। सो दिस विल बी 1 माइनस p x1 1 माइनस p x2 डैश डैश 1 माइनस p xn, right। Combining all these and combining all this we will get p raised to power summation xi। So this will be just opposite of, अगर यहाँ पर x1 आएगा तो इसमें 1 माइनस x1 होगा, मीन्स 1 माइनस 1 0 हो जाएगा, 1 माइनस x1 1 माइनस x2 1 माइनस x2 जस्ट ऑपोजिट ऑफ दिस वन। तो नेक्स्ट दिस विल बी दिस वन एंड 1 माइनस p, दिस विल बी समेशन 1 माइनस xi, राइट। I in this case is varying from 1 to n. You can see easily I is varying from 1 to n. So adding base are same, adding the powers, so we will get these kinds of probability. So this probability will be equal to p raised to power summation xi and 1 minus p raised to power summation 1 minus xi. Again in this case this summation I is varying from 1 to n. So combining these factors and these are the probability when xi is taking value 1. अगर हम सारे ये सभी वैल्यू 1 लेंगे, अगर सभी वैल्यू 0 लेंगे तो these are the probabilities. इनको कंबाइन करके हमारे पास ये बनेगा, इनको कंबाइन करके ये बनेगा. सो प्रोडक्ट ऑफ दिस वन you can see here. So let us put this to be equation number 2. Alright, this implies joint probability distribution या तो हम ऐसा भी बोल सकते हैं joint density function of small x1 small x2 dash dash small xn k is, तो ये वाली joint density function इसमें मैंने की ऐड कर दिया, तो क्या हो जाएगा इज, तो हो जाएगा प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ x1 x2 डैश डैश xn k, या कैपिटल के फॉर्म में लिखेंगे क्या क्या आएगा पास, x1 टेकिंग वैल्यू x1, कैपिटल x2 टेकिंग वैल्यू x2, कैपिटल xn टेकिंग वैल्यू xn एंड कैपिटल T टेकिंग वैल्यू स्मॉल k, फॉर गिवन T के लिए करना ना हमने, तो स्मॉल k. सो ये आपके पास क्या आ जाएगा, तो इसकी वैल्यू आ जाएगी, यहाँ से देख सकते हैं आप, ये हो जाएगा आपका p रेज टू पावर k इंटू 1 माइनस p रेज टू पावर n माइनस k, या तो वैल्यू ये आएगी, ये कब आएगी आपके पास, इफ summation xi, इसमें जो i वेरी कर रहा है दैट इज वेरिंग फ्रॉम 1 to n इज इक्वल टू k. वी नो summation xi इज इक्वल टू t एंड t इज इक्वल टू k. सो summation xi k होगा, यहाँ देख सकते हैं summation xi k मीन्स p पावर k, summation xi, अगर summation को हम अंदर मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे दिस विल बी summation 1 summation xi तो k बनेगा, summation 1 मीन्स एडिंग 1 n टाइम, सो ये क्या आ जाएगा n. सो अगर इसमें summation xi k होगा, भाई दिस इज k बिकॉज summation xi is t and t here is k, so summation xi must be equal to k. तो प्रोबेबिलिटी हमारे पास ये बनेगी. इफ अदरवाइज केस क्या होगा, अदरवाइज मीन्स इफ summation xi is different from k, उस केस में आपके पास क्या होगा, रिजल्ट 0 बन जाएगा, तो ऐसा आएगा नहीं आपके पास. सो दिस प्रोबेबिलिटी विल बी, दिस इज प्रोबेबिलिटी, दिस इज जॉइंट डेंसिटी फंक्शन. इसमें n रैंडम सैम्पल, इसमें आपके पास आ रहा है n+1 रैंडम वेरिएबल्स आ रहे हैं इसमें, एक तो 1 से लेकर n तक n वेरिएबल, एक वेरिएबल और आएगा कि राइट, जॉइंट डेंसिटी फंक्शन, एक से ज़्यादा वेरिएबल्स हैं. सो लेट अस पुट दिस टू बी इक्वेशन नंबर 3, right. So come to the next page. Therefore conditional distribution या तो हम ऐसा भी बोल सकते हैं, और कंडीशनल joint density function, joint density distribution, या तो हम कंडीशनल डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन बोलेंगे या तो बोलेंगे हम कंडीशनल जॉइंट डेंसिटी फंक्शन ऑफ रैंडम वेरिएबल कैपिटल x1 कैपिटल x2 कैपिटल xk फॉर गिवन कैपिटल T इज, तो ये हमारे पास क्या बन जाएगा, तो ये हो जाएगा f ऑफ small f of x1 small x2 small xn slash k means for given t, right, because t is equal to k. in probability form इसको हम क्या कर सकते हैं, कैपिटल x1 is equal to small x1, कैपिटल x2 is equal to small x2 and so on continue, कैपिटल xn is equal to small xn for given t taking value k, this. So by definition this is probability of x1 x2 xn random variable for given t, means t has already occurred, so this will be by definition equal to this one. probability of x1, x2, xn k joint density function this divided by probability of k successes, right? As usually we know this type of result a/b. This is probability of a intersection b divided by probability of the b, right? If the sets are in event form, if the events are in, if here a b are event, right? When these are in variable form, so this definition is get modified in this way, right? So this is the probability of x1, x2, xn when t has already occurred. Yeah, t is given, so equal to this one. Now substitute the values f of k. नो दो केसेस बनेंगे हमारे पास इफ समेशन एक्स आई इक्वल टू, तो इसकी वैल्यू फ्रॉम क्वेश्चन 3 जो हमने अभी सॉल्व किया, सब्स्टिट्यूट वैल्यू दिस फ्रॉम क्वेश्चन 3, तो इसकी वैल्यू थी p पावर k 1 माइनस p रेज टू पावर n माइनस k होल डिवाइडेड बाय, दिस इज बिकॉज ऑफ इक्वेशन 3 सिंस ऑफ 3 एंड f of k from equation 1 since of equation 1, so f of k value is nck p raised to power k 1 minus p raised to power n minus k. This is because of equation number 1 provided, उसमें equation 3 में condition थी provided summation xi is equal to k where i is varying from 1 to n. अगर summation xi k होगा, this is clear from equation 3, तो इसकी value the density joint density function in numerator its value ये है f of k probability k successive. This is clear from the equation number 1, this one. And otherwise case, otherwise means if summation xi is different from k, तो उस केस में इस डेंसिटी फंक्शन जॉइंट डेंसिटी फंक्शन की वैल्यू 0 है, तो 0 डिवाइडेड बाय k मींस 0, राइट? अगेन because numerator is 0 because of equation 3, right? So that's why this probability is equal to 0. You can see here this is the probability of x1, x2, xn when given k, x1, x2, xn when given k. If summation xi is k, so its value will be this one pk, this one, right? And f of k is given in equation number given in equation number 1. This is the equation number equation number 1. On solving, this factor cancel with this one, this factor also cancel with this one, so we are left with a 1 divided by mck or 0 if summation xi is equal to k. Otherwise case, so this is the, that is probability of a joint density function x1, x2, xn for given k, right? So this is got this one. You can see here clearly this is independent of p, इसमें p आ ही नहीं रहा है, which is because parameter हमारा p था, which is independent of parameter p, right? Hence capital T, which is equal to summation xi and I is varying from 1 to n, is of sufficient estimator for capital P. This is by definition of sufficiency, the last property of point estimator, right? If this joint density function conditional probability is independent of the given parameter p, you can see there is no p in this one as well as in this one, so that's why this point estimator capital T which is given is a sufficient estimator for a parameter p, right? So dear friends, up to this lecture we come to know that there are four properties of point estimator. First was unbiasedness and second was first is unbiasedness, second property is consistency, third is efficiency, and fourth property is sufficiency. And we have done lots of example for all of these, right? This is the first property, this is the second property, this is the third property, this is the fourth property. So this is all about properties of a point estimator. Thank you.